Wellness. Welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and this is another car talk. I don't mean to do this in the car. If I could show you the sky, you'd be like, wow, it's really 30, 40 something degrees out. Yes, it is. Hence the wool coat. I'm almost tempted to take it off right now and just suffer this short walk to my humble abode. But anywho, I didn't post Friday. I didn't post Monday. So today's the day. So you guys are gonna get 3 today, Tuesday. Well, you're gonna get 2 today for Friday and Monday, and then tomorrow, the third one I'll post tomorrow. So yes, the breath. Where am I on that? To be quite honest with you, I've noticed this pattern since moving back to Indiana. And for those of you who are super hypersensitive to your environment, you'll understand this. Others of you won't. So if you don't, just hang in there. We'll get to the meat of this video. But I don't know. I've just been really kind of struggling with my spiritual practice. Well, meditation in general. Staying consistent physically with my Ashtanga practice. And I think a lot of that has to do with mental exhaustion from my line of work right now. It really is something when you literally are engaged with multiple areas that demand your mental commitment and loyalty and focus and engagement, where you don't necessarily get a nice breakaway. I constantly have work that's due pretty much every day, or work that can or should be worked on every single day, and that's hard. That I underestimated how challenging that is. But anywho, so I have to come up with a strategy to make sure that my mental health and my physical health are top priority. Like I said, mentioned in last month's accountability videos, no one's accountable for your health. You are. You cannot hand someone your account and say, hey, take care of me. Hey, take care of my health. Hey, take care of my wealth. Hey, take care of my well-being. No one cares that much unless they've made a commitment to you or they are an immediate part of your family. And even with that, to even people closest to you, you don't see them every day. You don't see your grandparents every day. You don't see your parents every day. You don't see your kids every day, for those of you who are, have kids who are moved out of the house. So here we go. So thank you for your patience. Friday and Monday, I wasn't feeling it. And I'll make another video regarding technology and the digital age and where I fit with that. So the breath. As you can see, the title says human race versus humankind. I don't know what it is. I feel like in one way, my soul has chosen to be brought, has chosen my parents, has chosen every little thing that has happened, is happening, and will happen. And everything has I feel like there's a divine plan to a certain extent. Because the only moment that exists is now, is the present moment. Not the past, not the present. I'm sorry, not the past and not the future. Only now. So that can only take you so far, right? But what I've gathered, when we think of the breath, we think of boredom. We think of it's not even a thing, a thought. We don't even have to think of breathing. We just do. It's automatic. And when you have something that's automatic, you don't take the time to focus on it. You don't even attach yourself to it. You just do it. You just breathe. Unless you have some physiological or medical illness that causes or affects your breath, like cystic fibrosis, asthma, emphysema, COPD, bronchitis, short-term pneumonia, things that really impede your ability to inhale and exhale properly without you having to think about it. And I've taken care of patients in the hospital who just couldn't breathe. All right, they just had a really, really, really hard time, and they wore the oxygen, the cannula wrapped around their nose. All right, so it's something we don't necessarily think about. We get wrapped up and warped up and taken down the black hole of superficiality and the illusion of separation and over identification of who we believe we think we are. And we stick to that. We hold on to that. And I mentioned before, a lot of the spiritual and religious practices where we externalize so much of ourselves to the sky daddy, okay, or to the earth mommy. We do, right? The left-hand path or the right-hand path. But then you come to realize that you're walking on a pathless path, and you're actively creating the pathless path. You learn to exist in just being instead of obsessing about doing, because anybody can do anything. It's the state of your being. It's the beingness that is and should be the focus and the focal point in your life. But it's not, is it? So with over-identification, let's dive into that. I'm not going to name names. I try to keep personal or other people, out of these types of conversations that I interact with on a daily basis, whether that's family, professional, or friends, strangers, acquaintances, ex-lovers, all that good stuff. I try to, keep a boundary with that, obviously. But I will say this. Let's talk about race. Human race. So yes, I grew up in the United States. U.S. has a horrible, long-ass history regarding how much melanin one has, your features, your race, your culture, where you come from, who your father, who your mother is, who are your people. The U.S. is we're a mixed group. We're mongrels in a way. And if you find that offensive, get a hold of yourself, okay? But we are. Right? You have, at the very beginning when the U.S. was brand new, everyone was still very tribal. If you're Irish, you're with the Irish. If you're Polish, you're with the Polish. If you're German, you're with the German. If you, were Anglo-Saxon, you're Anglo-Saxon. If you're a Catholic, you're a Catholic, Protestant. If you were a person of color, black, you were black, right? If you're Native, Indigenous, you were Native and Indigenous. You stuck with your people. And that was a practice that's, slowly began to break down over time, over decades, over, a couple of centuries. And here we are. But, there's an echo in the bone, right? Bones hold history. Bones tell a story. They're often forgotten, but there's an echo in it still. The echoes of the past, they keep reverberating in our culture. Mainstream, okay? And I never could quite understand the obsession with human races, white race, black race. What does that truly mean? When I hear the definition race, I hear competition. You're racing against something. You are going against something. You're fighting against something. You're having to compete. It's all fully competition. That's what I hear when I hear the word race. I'll race you, right? When you're a kid, I'll race you. But with humankind, right? Kind in German, kindness. There's togetherness. There's solidarity. There's a deep understanding. There's compassion. That's the human I am. I don't know about you, but I'm part of humankind. The human race, I'm not racing against my fellow man. And I will say this, I'm going through something right now in my life where I'm not going to say I'm an active participant, but if anything, I'm an active observant. Where I'm having to watch people play out stories and egos and personalities, and it's like I have to remind myself that how I perceive reality is not how someone else perceives me. How I perceive them is not how they perceive me. How I love is not how someone else loves. Everyone has their own unique way of expressing their programs, their conditionings, their trauma. for me, and again, I keep saying this, but it's just so real and so raw and so true to me when it comes to humankind. If really race doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I have people in my personal, life that race is a big deal. You got to blame somebody for your shortcomings. My people have been suppressed and oppressed because of these people over here, that race over there. That's nothing. That's nothing. It's just bull crap that feeds the illusion of separation. Because from my understanding, what I saw in the hospital, I saw pus come out of all races and all creeds. Blood, shit, piss. I saw it all oozing from many different looking human beings, but we have the same red blood that flows through our veins. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cannot understand this. It's very weak. It's a very weak argument. And the place that I work in, it's very diverse. You don't have biracials anymore. You have multiracial people now, where their parents, so I'll have a student, they're not just biracial. They have one parent who's their parent. So let's just say I have a student, multiracial. Mom is half black, but her mother is half white and half Mexican. His dad is, half Asian and half black and white. Give it a few more decades, okay? Give it a few more decades. But I never quite understood the rat race. When I think of human race, when I hear the word human race, it's that rat race they have everybody on, that never-ending treadmill. You're just running in place, not going anywhere, not accomplishing anything. You're just another, wheel in the machine. Another wheel in the machine. The way to fix or to manipulate your perception, of who you or what you identify with or as, is to be of breath. That is the only thing that can truly dissolve illusion, is breath. Humankind. Human kindness, generosity, compassion, love. That's the type of human I am. That's the type of human I choose to be. I'm not part of a race. Even though I am. I work, the 9 to 5. I pay taxes, just pay my taxes. I do adult things, pay my bills, go grocery shopping. Just went to the mall, just went to the mall to get some items. It's so hard for me to shop and get things for myself. Really is. I'm not really much of a, shopper. I like style. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can see I like wearing silver, I like style. I like nice pieces, but it's not the forefront of my life. And recently, someone I love very much, my mom, she was like, why don't you put more effort and wear more makeup? Why don't you wear lipstick? Why don't you doll your hair up? You're so pretty, And I told her flat out, I said, Mom, if I was like that, then she would be telling me to tone it down. You know what I'm saying? If I wore high heels and, waxed all the time and wore tons of makeup, got my nails done, all that crap, and wore contacts and all that, then it'd be too much for somebody, wouldn't it? So I'm very, I'm not saying I don't like dressing up or anything, but I don't like being part of the race, a competition. I gotta snag a dude by wearing, by being fake and wearing all that stuff. No, if you see me dressed up, it's because I choose to do that. That's it. I know some of you can relate that you just don't fit into the race. And it's an odd place to be, You're part of something, but that something doesn't really see you as part of them. So where does the breath fit into all this? The breath can bring in that connection. Through human kindness, there's connection. When we breathe, we reconnect ourselves to the kindness and generosity and compassion that's already lying dormant within ourselves. We have access to it all. We truly do. We truly do. So may this message find you well and whole. I look forward to the next discussion because it's kind of an important one. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.